We'll be going from a grey, T-pose looking motherfucker to a not grey, not T-pose looking fatherfucker in under 15 minutes, or your money back. Equipment. What tools will you need to fulfill your bootleg, degenerate, and probably perverted desires? Number 1. Pack Mod Manager. So you can install the mods you create, obviously. If you don't already have this, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Second, FBX Meshes. There's a folder full of them on Moddrbase that their glorious leader was generous enough to upload for public consumption. It includes most in-game outfits, but not all of them. So it's up to you to dig through and see if the one you want is included. If not, feel free to yell at Brutal Ace about it so he can ignore you. Third, Blender. If you're looking to modify an in-game outfit, then Blender's got you covered. You'll also have the tools necessary to export the meshes to the next program you'll need. Fourth, Unreal Engine. Version 4.7.6 to be exact. This is what Street Fighter was made in, and other games as well. In order for whatever you make to have any chance of actually showing up in-game, it has to be processed through here. Once all of these things have been acquired, it's time to begin. If you're interested in maximizing your creativity in Blender, learning how to create beautiful sculptures and breathtaking outfits, turning simple polygons into gorgeous works of art that would rival the Renaissance, then this is the wrong video for you. I just made Karin put on a few pounds because I'm into that. Anyways, what I can show you is how to export the mesh and skeleton from Blender so it will be recognized in Unreal. Select the mesh, hold Shift, then highlight the armature while the mesh is still selected, to ensure that your export commands are applied to both the mesh and the armature. File, Export FBX. You'll be greeted by a symphony of options eagerly waiting for you to passionately rub your cursor all over them. Main tab. Check the Selected Options checkbox so you don't accidentally export with everything selected by default. Then, using the secret Kung Fu shift technique discussed earlier, highlight mesh and armature simultaneously. Geometries. Smooth faces. Or not. I don't think it even matters. Armatures. Don't change anything here or your computer will explode. Animation. Uncheck baked animations. The only thing getting baked here is me after I post this piece of quality content. Follow these steps carefully and you'll be ready to export. The file you end up with should be roughly 4 megabytes. As for the file name, it doesn't necessarily have to be the one the game reads the mesh as yet, but it will have to be eventually, so you might as well just match them up now before you forget. Onward to Unreal. Create a new blank project, well, blank by Unreal standards anyways. What is this, an IKEA commercial? Your first priority should be getting your project's folder hierarchy established to match the game's hierarchy as closely as needed, starting from within the content folder. Right away you're gonna want to yeet the starter pack out of your project. All it will do is muck up your visuals and slow down the cooking process. Yeah, there's cooking involved and you'll hear all about that real soon. In the meantime, now that the starter pack has been banished to the Shadow Realm, create the Chara folder. The one for Charateurs. Within the Chara folder, create the CMN folder and the name folder for your specific character, KRN, CMY, CNL, HIV, etc. Within the Seaman folder, create a skeleton folder. Be careful though, it can get real spooky. A Skell Mesh folder goes into your character's folder. Within the Skell Mesh folder, create 2 folders, a folder matching the character's outfit number, and a common folder which is required to keep the eyes from bugging out. Inside the numbered outfit folder, create 2 more folders, Material, and Mesh. A Material folder goes in the common folder. Okay, that's it, no more folders. Blender seems to upscale meshes once it exports them, so when you import your mesh, scale it down. I set its scale to 0.38407 since that's what I was told to do, but it still seems kind of off, so you might want to tweak it a bit. Material. This can get messy pretty fast. Move the iLens file to common/material, and every other material to the character's main material folder. Rename the skeleton file to CMN_skeleton, then move it to the Seaman skeleton folder. This will prevent your character from being perpetually stuck in a T-pose, just try not to jump out of your skin. Check to see if the names in the material files that came with the mesh match the names in the character's game folder. File and folder names can change between game patches. For instance, the character in this project, Karin, had every instance of CD7 replaced with KRN, so the file names have to be changed accordingly. After making material instance copies of every material, deleting the original material files, and removing _inst from the file names and replacing CD7 with KRN, it's a matter of matching each material instance to its respective element. Generally, but not always, the matching element will be alluded to in the file name. Element 1 will contain E01, element 2 will have E02, and so on. While this is generally the norm for each character's naming conventions, this doesn't always apply. In this project, Karen's elements match the file name up until element 6, where the file containing E06 is skipped, replaced with a material instance containing E07, and every following material instance is one integer higher than its respective element. I think this might be because E06 is related to polygons I deleted when I modified this mesh. iLens is usually element 0, and remember lads, these are material folders, not materials folders. The files are ready now, but hold on sport. If you go straight to the project's content folder and use this for your .pak, the game will be deeply disappointed and delete you from its friends list. In order to avoid this, File, Cook Content for Windows. In the project folder, select saved /cook /project name /windows no editor, create a new folder with a Street Fighter V folder inside of it, then copy the content folder into that Street Fighter V folder. This will be your pak. Delete unnecessary files and folders that were either used to write mesh information or added by Unreal, including the physics file for now. Copy the pak folder into Pak Mod Manager. Browse folder, and there is the mod. That's all fine and dandy if you're cool with your character and their outfit looking stiffer than a Barbie doll, but what if you want to use physics? Back in Unreal, open up the physics asset created when the FBX was imported, and press Simulate. After having a hearty chuckle, select all the collision nodes a la Ctrl A, set them to kinematic and press Simulate again. Nothing happened? Good, now you can get started. First I'll be putting in breast physics, which presumably was planned during the beta phase but has since been blasted off the game since the media went all mean girls on Capcom's ass over it.
He's going to milk it all he can, and you're the fat cow he's milking right there. I am not mad one bit at you, simply because you got punked up, you got deceived, and you got slapped, and really, you got treated like a little punk bitch.
I'm modifying the size and positioning of various collision nodes. Body mode. First of all, select both breast nodes, again using an advanced variant of the shift technique where you hold Control instead of shift. Then set the physics mode to default so it can actually move. Angular/linear damping, how quickly or gradually the body part will slow to a halt once force has stopped being applied to it. Solver iteration counts, prevent body parts from flailing around wildly, set to 12 and 3. Disable collision or the body part will go nuts. Constraint mode. Angular/linear limits, set all to 3. Projection. Prevents wacky bugs, set to 5 and 180. Limit stiffness, set stubbornness, the amount of force that's required for the node to move. Too high and you won't see anything, too low and you'll end up with saggy grandma titties. Limit damping. Sets how quickly the node will slow down once it has exceeded the angular/linear limit. Now press Simulate again, only this time hold Ctrl and right-click the newly modified body part. Make sure there aren't other nodes blocking you from clicking on the one you want. Move or resize other nodes if necessary. Once you're done sexually harassing your character, it's time to move on. I'll be doing the same thing with other body parts, including a belly node I added in Blender by extruding a new bone from the spine. Selecting the new bone in pose mode, then selecting the mesh, then painting weight values for it onto the abdomen. You might be wondering why I did this. Well, because in Street Fighter Legends, Sakura Issue 3, Karin cheated in a hot dog eating contest with Sakura by feeding hot dogs to a henchman hiding under the table. Now she has to pay what she owes. I'm selecting every hair node except the topmost ones. Low damping, and collision disabled, for now. In constraint mode the hair is modified in a similar fashion to the breasts, only with much more lenient soft limits and damping and stiffness left at the default values. Upon pressing simulate, an obvious issue is made crystal clear. Goldie's locks are going through her body. I know I said earlier to turn off collision because it would make everything go nuts, which is true. But I didn't go into detail as to why, and neither does the other guide. The reason is that attached nodes will be perpetually trying to flee from one another to stay outside each other's collision boundaries. I didn't understand how to remedy this, so I asked a buddy for help and he told me the following. If you only enable collision on a select few nodes, like say, the ends of Karen's hair, you'll actually get somewhere. Then we started touching dicks, it was great. More importantly, I fixed Goldie's locks, and updated my own project too. As for this thing, it's pretty much done, so just cook it up again and you should be good to go.